one of the things that I've discovered is that when I talk to somebody on Fireside, it seems that the people on Wisdom, unfortunately, aren't hearing that side of the conversation. So I'll do my best to relay that back for those on Wisdom. Right now, I'm just working with my iPad, and so I need to figure out how to make that better for everybody. And I'm going to get started over on Fireside. It'll be just a minute, and we'll start very close to on the hour. Send this out to share with followers. Select all. 3,335. That's pretty awesome. And wow, we've got people. Nice. And so I just want to double check over here on Wisdom again, make sure that's good. And they are coming up. Hi, everyone. The looks like Wisdom Love tonight on Fireside. The Cecilia, Graciela, Mojo, thank you for showing up. And Angie as well. I'm not sure if you're part of the Wisdom family or not, but the others all are. And Angie, if you are, you can tell me later. And if you're not, you are absolutely welcome. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, wisdom.app/Bryden Farm. And it's a great supportive community. And right now, it looks like they're supporting me. So that is super awesome. So what I usually do is I usually invite everyone who comes into the room to speak. Don't feel that you have to, but please know that you are welcome to. And the so a couple of little things just to get us started. The on Amazon, I have actually self-published a couple of books. One is Growing Your Family Tree, Sorting the Wheat from the Chaff. And the other is From Irish Roots, which does help celebrate part of my family. And I see Mojo has come up to the mic. Are you there, Mojo?
Can you hear me? Check one.
I can. You're a little low.
All right. Let's see if I can fix that. Test
How
one.
am I
Test
coming
one.
across?
Oh, loud and clear. Real good.
Okay, good.
Check one. Is this better? Can you hear me?
I can. You're still a little low, but I can hear you.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to mute for a minute and see if I can try something else.
Okay, no worries. We'll be here. And I can actually, if you want, I'll send you a request there to video as well if you want, but you don't have to. And Ron, Noble Ron, I see Kudos is starting too over on Wisdom. You guys are great. I'm really hoping that Octavia, who was on here last week, comes back this week. Because on the show last week, I was unable to do very much. But what was one part of what was funny about it was she gave me the names. We got it straightened out, but I didn't hear it right. And one of the funny things is, and as I say, I hope that she comes back in because I want to share with her what I did find for her. But one of the funny things is that she was giving me the names. It was almost like every name she was giving me, I just wasn't hearing it right. And I said at the time that a lot of times in the census records or in vital stats records, people have gotten things misspelled because of the census taker mishearing. And that was exactly what was happening. Why I couldn't find her grandfather and the family unit in the census records was because in every census it was misspelled. And it was funny because a lot of it was not only the last name was misspelled or the first name, but they were both misspelled. In almost every census it changed. So, Mojo, I see that your mic is muted. I'm not sure if you've muted yourself or if I muted you. Yeah, still somewhat getting used to this thing. Oh, that may be him right there. Hi, Mojo.
Hey,
We're
check
seeing you
1,
now.
2. Can you hear me any better, or just see me now?
Yeah, I can see you now, and I can hear you too.
All right, that's a win-win.
So, are you interested in learning about your family?
Absolutely, yeah. So, you and I haven't been friends long enough for you to have heard my story, but I was adopted at birth. I believe you're adopted as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about my biological family. Back in the 60s when I was born, everything was sealed by the courts.
Right.
I was given just a little bit of broad stroke information, a couple sentences, but nothing specific until just about a year ago now. Through a series of circumstances, I was able to track down my biological mother and found out I have 4 biological half siblings. And my biological mother gave me the name of my biological father, which I have to look it up because I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I
Right.
have not been in touch with him, and apparently he's got children as well. I just don't know how many. So it's starting to open up after all these years, which has been a blessing because I've always wanted to just let my biological mother know how grateful I was that she brought me into this
Right.
world. She had other
Right.
choices, I'm sure, and I know it had to be difficult and stressful for her. And then also to let her know that I'm healthy, I'm happy, and enjoying life, so that she wouldn't be worried
Nice.
about me every time my birthday rolled around. Right?
Nice. No, so you, if I'm hearing it right, you had the opportunity to do that. You met your biological mother.
I have not met her. I've talked to her on the phone a few
Oh, okay.
times, and
Okay.
we've exchanged some direct messages. Yeah, but
Right.
I have not met her yet. She's in another part of the country.
Nice.
Let me see if I can look up my biological father's name. I don't know anything about him.
Sure. No problem. And I'm still kind of working out the kinks here too. Hi, Wendy. I see Wendy has joined the. I always invite everybody to speak. So, Wendy, if you want to speak after Mojo, you're welcome. The If you don't, that's okay too. Um, and so, one of the things I'm going to do, I think, I sometimes I just kind of go and start entering the information, and then I wonder if did I get that right? So I'm going to take a few notes just to make sure that I get it written down correctly
Sure.
or typed down correctly.
So one of the cool things along the way was on my birth certificate. When I was born, they only gave me the copy of the adoption certificate that had my adoptive parents on it, and
Right,
the other one was sealed by court records for all those years. And then just a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the state of Montana, where I was born, changed their laws so that an adoptee could get a copy of the original birth certificate, which includes the biological mother's name, at least their, um, and so that's actually was starting to open the door for me to track down my biological mother.
see, I was spoiled. I grew up knowing both families.
Right? Yeah,
Uh, the
that's a
if
bonus.
right? 5
Yeah.
years old, out in the yard, and we lived down on a little dirt road where, unless we went somewhere, I didn't really have anybody to play with other than the animals and myself. So out in the yard, and this young fellow of my age, maybe a year or two older, come up the road, and we started. We played, I don't know, say for an hour, and all of a sudden he says, "I'm your brother, you know." I said, "You are not." Yeah. He said, "You go in the house and ask your mom." So in the house we trudged, and the mom said, "Yes, you remember me telling you that you're adopted. You're part of this family, but you were adopted, and he's one of your adopted brothers." "Oh, okay, let's go play." And so
Yep. Easy.
that was
Simple as that.
right. Yeah,
Yep. Love it.
yeah. So as a family, as a child, um, pretty easy to take.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering the best way for us to do this, because I usually, where did you want to start with your? Don't give me any names yet. Did
Sure.
you want to start with your father's name?
I actually don't see it here. I do have
Okay,
I have biological mother and
okay,
siblings.
okay. The reason I say that is I try to protect the living, so to speak.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
I understand. Yeah.
Um,
Their privacy. Absolutely.
right. So, which in your case may make it a little bit difficult for us to do too much here on the air, but you can always,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No,
back
I get
channel
it.
me,
I want to be sensitive to their privacy. Absolutely.
right? Um, so I take it that you've talked to her, so she's still alive.
Yeah.
Um, you don't happen to know her parents' names,
I don't, although my biological half sister, who's the oldest of four, who are
right?
all older than I, she is very. We've formed a very good relationship, and she's happy to share any of that information with me. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, so I do have access to at least on one side of the family.
Here's a little my reality and live video.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect any of you to, but if any of you recognize the picture behind me up there on the wall, um, she is simply a picture of somebody I call Grandma Somebody, because I was at a market a few years back and selling
Grandma
Watkins
somebody.
products, which is what we sell Watkins products, and she was hanging over there on the wall, and she uh, kept smiling at me one day and smirking at me the next. And finally, I went over and dropped a $20 bill on the vendor's table and found out that she had come out of a house lot in a community that is next to Wards Creek in New Brunswick, Canada, a place that I have been to but cannot find any history for the community. But I go back to a Ward family who traveled through New Brunswick in the 1850s, 1860s, and had a family member marry someone from about 20 minutes away from where this, maybe a half hour away from where this picture come from. So I have no idea if she is connected to the Wards, but she come out of that area. The picture did. And so I have it hanging on my wall, and I've had it on my wall for a number of years with the, high hopes that someday somebody is going to say, "What are you doing with her on your wall?" and fill in the blank for me. Yeah, it's
Well, I was about to say that, but now I'm going to hold off just to keep you in suspense.
yeah, right. the um, so Yeah, do you? So, in this case, for you, probably the best thing to do would be to send me those names back channel,
Yeah.
or contact me. Probably for you, send me it through Wisdom, or my email. My easiest email is Brian, Brian,
Okay.
at Bryden Farm, BRIDEN Farm.com, and
Yeah,
that
I'll do that.
send me that, and I can see what I can find out for you.
Perfect.
Um,
That sounds good.
yeah, it's so for those of us who have been adopted, sometimes it's a little difficult. What area were you born in?
I was born in Butte, Montana,
Montana.
and
Okay.
then transferred to Helena, which is the capital, through the Catholic Charities Agency. And then my adoptive parents, who were living in Billings, Montana, drove up to Helena to pick me up at 3 weeks old, and then take me home.
Right on. That's the I love Montana. Love that. I love Colorado. I love Montana. They're probably two of my favorite states for sure. The first time I ever traveled on my own, I went down to see cousins in Massachusetts, and would later find out that I had roots there among the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag tribes, and actually ended up, in a sense, going home and didn't realize it. I was 14 years old and I was going to visit cousins. But
Right? Yeah.
the I just want to reach out to Wendy. Wendy, if you
Sure.
have questions, I believe I have you set to with an invite to speak. So if you want to, just let me know, accept that invite, and um, come up. If not, you're more than welcome just to listen. The but yeah, so that is probably on here live and in public. That's
Yep.
probably our best option. The
Agreed. That sounds good to me, Brian.
um, Unfortunately, as Cecilia knows, I can't always find information that I'm looking for, but a lot of the time I can. I tried to do some for Cecilia a couple of weeks ago, and the family name for her isn't John Smith, but from the time and place it comes from, it almost could be John Smith, and there were just too many of them to narrow it down with the
Sure.
information that we had. But um, if there's anybody else that wants to come up, you're welcome to. And if you want to come up voice, or if you want to come up video, I can open up the video as well. Absolutely. The
Hello, I'll just stick video tonight. Hello, Mojo. O'Brien.
Hello, Ron.
Great to see you both.
If you don't have to, but if you want to use a video, you're welcome. The it's so Ron, do you have family questions or?
Yes, I do. So I can give you a name and okay.
All right. Now, so kind of the same thing applies. What we try to do is, if you know that they're living, we'll try to keep the living names out of the public.
Right. This is a deceased.
Okay. All right. What's the name, Ron?
The name is James Marion Perry, Perry.
And I've been meaning to tell you that Perry is a name that is in my family tree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So James Marion Perry. Now, was that a
That's my
grandparent?
Father's father. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'm going to go first. So what I usually tell people is go to, and any of you who are interested in doing your own work, especially, go to legacyfamilytree.com.
Okay.
There's a free standard edition database there that I have used for years, and probably my first 10 years of research, I just used the free version. The upgrade, I think, is like $35. When I got it, I think it was 20, but it was like 20 years ago. So it hasn't increased much, and they, it's not even a monthly. It's like once a year, if that.
Okay.
And very a great way to keep track of your names and so on for free. Now, the other free website is FamilySearch.org. And when you go to Family Search, and by the way, I'll always include this or try to, FamilySearch.org I'll read it, a service provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I'm not what is commonly referred to as a Mormon, but I like to use their site because it's free, because when you go to FamilySearch.org and hit the search button and then the records, it actually takes you into census records and vital stats records, and that becomes a good thing, because my caution is, regardless of which site you are on, if it's Ancestry or Family Search or whatever it is, if you're seeing a hint that information might be in somebody else's tree, always remember that that tree is only as good as its sources. And they may have the best of intentions, but they may have copied it from somebody's tree, who copied it from somebody's tree, who copied it from somebody's tree. So you always want to try to get source information. Typically, someone who has passed away 50 years or more ago is when their death record becomes publicly available. If they were married 75 years ago or born 100 years ago, those are generally available to the public. There are exceptions, and we may look at a few of those, but those are kind of just rule of thumb. Do you know where James was born or lived?
I think it's Augusta, Georgia. I'm not sure. I mean, when he was born. I mean, his later life, of course, it was Augusta, but I don't know about his boyhood. I think it was though. I know
how long ago did he pass?
He passed in 93. His birth year was 1916.
1960?
16.
16. Okay, I didn't think 60 sounded right. Okay. If 60 was right, I misheard the first part.
Right.
And I'm working with an old laptop here, so it may take a few minutes to come up. So what I've done is I've gone to FamilySearch.org, clicked on search, clicked on records, put in James Marion, actually as the first names, and Perry with the death year. And the first thing that I see that comes up is that he was, as you accurately stated, he was, most likely died in, he was buried in Augusta and was born the 20th of January, 1916. Let's see if we can find. Looks like in July of 93, looks like in July of 93, he was living in Wingham, Georgia, and trying to get something back in the.
No, he was living in Augusta. No, well, I would say that he wasn't
He
even
was.
alive until he wasn't alive July '93. He was already buried March 6th, or he died March
Okay,
6th. But he didn't live in
interesting.
Wingham. He lived in
So there
DC.
was probably something, um, something recorded. It's in the United States public records.
Oh wow.
So it might have been something filed or something to that effect at that time. The doesn't exactly say what, it just shows it in public records.
Huh.
The would he have been in Wingham or Wingham?
No,
Wigham?
no.
No. Okay. Interesting. The because you said he passed in '93.
March 6th. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, so maybe there was papers filed or something. It's definitely there. All right, so funny it's not bringing up something in the 20th of January 1916 recorded. Let me Georgia. Now I've got the song in my head. Georgia on my mind.
Yeah. Great song.
Yeah.
Great Charles Williams.
I was hoping maybe you'd burst out in verse or something. Yeah. Doing another search here, also on Family Search, but now that I've put in his now that is showing. I'm looking for a census record or something to that effect. It's so you said he was 6th of March '93, correct?
That's right.
In Richmond, Georgia.
No,
is how it's recorded.
Richmond County. Richmond County.
Richmond County. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So born the 20th of January 1916. And gonna go. Actually, gonna take that information, and now Ancestry is a paid site, but if something doesn't pop up on Family Search, sometimes, usually it will. Family Search is really good, especially for a free site.
Awesome.
But sometimes if it doesn't, I can go over and find it on Ancestry a little quicker. So we are looking 20th, 1916. And so similar thing over on Ancestry. There's a little leaf that gives you a hint to other people's trees, and it's always good to maybe go look at that other tree and see what information is there, because they may find information. They may have sources in the tree. But if they don't have sources, just kind of try to figure out where they got that information from before you really count it as concrete.
What makes some families harder to find? Is it just usually like you're in family that was in the public eye that's easier to trace back, or what makes it so difficult for some families?
It's a good question. I have one of my lines that almost, like, my breakthroughs were one generation every 5 years, and just absolutely grueling to be able to find it. Now, do you know who James' parents were?
No, I have a picture of him when he was 5 years old with
Okay.
his father.
All right.
I guess it was Deacon, but I don't know what his
Right.
name was.
The just gonna be a little tricky because of trying to find. So 1916. There was one in 1920 that was in Hamilton, Colquitt, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, let's see. That page will come up. Now, do you happen to know if he had a sister? So this was your great grandfather, right?
Right.
James?
Wait, no, James is my grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yeah, James is my grandfather.
Okay. The so did you have a great aunt Mildred?
I don't remember. I know I had a great uncle Olin, his brother Olin.
Oland, Oland?
Yeah, just Olan.
Olin, okay. Aunt Nora, by any chance?
I'm sure. Like, I never met her, but I'm sure because came from a kind of a big family. He was a
Right?
stepchild too. When he was young.
Yeah. The well, if I'm looking at the right family, I may not be as well. The that was in 1920, so let's move up to 1930 and
I know.
Minnie.
I know he was married in 37.
James was married in 37.
Yeah, married in 37 yet.
Okay. The
So I celebrated their surprise 50th anniversary in May '87 when I was 6 years old. No,
right.
5 years
And
old.
you said his middle name was Marion.
His middle Marion,
Marion.
Marion. I think
Yeah.
so. Pretty sure.
Okay. Because I see information on a James Medford.
No, no, not Medford.
Okay. And it's let's try. So you know he was married 1937.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember her name?
My grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, her as Geneva. Her maiden name was Young. Young.
Geneva Young.
Mm-hmm. I remember my great grandmother. They always talked about, but she saw me, when I was a baby, but I never met her. I was too young. She died, I think, in '82. Her name was Kiesler.
Let's see.
Oh, Grandma
Here,
Kiesler.
that's
She was
1940.
really something else. I mean, so many, it's amazing how many stories I hear about her.
So
I
yeah,
found some.
I would encourage you to go and download that free database at legacyfamilytree.com
Mhm.
and start and enter in the information that you do have. Okay, so 1940, I have James M. Perry, born 1917, so that would tie into the right year,
He's
approximately.
right.
His wife is Geneva,
Hmm.
and it looks like their first son would have been
Yes.
James M.
Yes.
Jr.,
Yep. That's it.
right?
That's right.
Did you say that you're seeing that? So are you actually on that site?
No, no, no. I'm just listening to you.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Mhm.
All right, and then I see a find a grave record for James Marion Perry Sr. Findagrave.com. Let me make sure I got the right findagrave.com is another free site where you can find information. And so on findagrave.com, James Marion Perry Sr., born the 20th of January 1916 in Johnson County, Georgia, died the 6th of March 1993 in Richmond County, Georgia, buried at Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery, and he was the son of William H. Perry and Gertie M. Now, don't yet have Gertie's maiden name, but those are, you'll find all of those on findagrave.com.
Awesome.
The possibly Gertie's family name, maiden name, was Price.
Price?
So James Marion's parents were William H. Perry and Gertie M. Price.
Wow. Awesome. So if I take that, I might be able to find out more, go back to more.
Yeah, and you know, get that database, put in what you have, and I can help you. I can help you with the next steps, so to speak. You know what?
Awesome.
That tone in your voice, that's what makes it worthwhile for me. Yeah. because I know what it's like to find that information. I know what that feeling is like. It's pretty special. So 6 March 93. Now, this record, this is actually the U.S. Social Security application, and his place of birth for James Marion was listed as Wrightsville.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Right?
Heard that.
And so that, now, let's see, Gertie, okay. Double check on this before I say, but it looks like no, I'm not sure if this child is a male or a female, but William H. Perry and Gertie also had a child by the name of Kelvy, Kelvy. Let me see. Yeah, unfortunately, died young. Was born the 11th of December, 1918, and death date was the 8th of March, 1920.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So sometimes we run into those things, but if it wasn't recorded there on Find a Grave and on the cemetery information there, we may never have known that. Right. And Geneva. So Geneva Young Perry. Geneva was born 1919. Now that may be off by a year or so, but according to the cemetery information on Find a Grave. And she passed away on the 22nd of December 2009.
That's right.
I was hoping, because sometimes they have. Okay, so on Find a Grave for Geneva, it has her obituary. She was 90 years old, of Belfort, Belfort Street, possibly?
That's right.
Okay. Wife of James M. Perry, entered into rest Tuesday, December 22nd, 2009, at University Hospital. Funeral services will be held Tuesday, December 29th, at 11 a.m. from the Chapel of Chance in Heydrich Funeral Directors, with Dr. Michael Davenport officiating. Interment will be at Hillcrest. Mrs. Perry, daughter of the late Charlie Perry, Charlie Young, and Katie Lee Whitaker. So Charlie Young and Katie Lee Whitaker were Geneva's parents.
Gotcha.
It goes on that she was a native of Augusta. She was a member of the Calvary Baptist Church and was an avid gardener and a wonderful Southern cook.
Oh, yeah.
She was preceded in death by her sons, J. Marion Perry, and the one for whom you are named, Ronald Perry.
I'm not
Ronald E. Perry.
He's Ronald E. I'm Ronald J.
Right? And one brother and two sisters. She is survived by her daughters and son-in-law, Glenda and Chris Fairley of Titusville, Florida, Karen and Dewey Michelin of Spartan, South Carolina, a brother to Geneva, Hamilton Young of Lexington, South Carolina, 9 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren.
Ooh, they got that wrong about the. Oh no, they're right. Wait.
Well, no, wouldn't be the first time there was a mistake in an obituary.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember that mistake, but yeah, there's only 7 grandchildren.
Right?
It's crazy.
And so, I'll read this because you already know it, what I'm going to read, and because it's public. Pallbearers will be grandchildren: Craig Ferry, Chad Ferry, Ron Perry, Dave Perry, Dale Perry, Angie Willis, and Rhonda Mankin. The family will receive friends at the funeral home on Tuesday, December 29th at 10 a.m. So her whole obituary is there. And that is sometimes how we can find information that is more recent than the 50, 75, and 100-year marks for the death, marriage, and birth. It's through obituaries. And depending on who I'm searching for or what I'm able to find elsewhere, if I can't find anything and it's more recent, what I'll do is I'll go to Google and type in just the 4 letters obit, O-B-I-T, and the person's name, and quite often comes up. Or if I happen to know the parents, can put their names in, and sometimes it'll bring up their parents' names or their children's names if they have passed away. So it's J Mac. Welcome to the room. So go to legacyfamilytree.com. Get that free database. Put in the information that you have. I have these tabs all open so I can put a little bit together that I gathered, and I can get that to you as well.
I appreciate that very much, Brian. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If I can be of more help, let me know. Any more questions at the moment?
No, sir. That's it. I appreciate it. I will reach out if I
All right.
need any help. Thank you.
Very good. Glad I could find something. And if there's anybody else in the room who does have questions, you can come up. I think I have everybody. I mean, if not, maybe I'm still learning this system, so I invite everybody to speak. Might get myself in trouble doing that one day, but if I can help you, maybe find family or ancestors, help get you started on your family tree for free is the way that I promote this. And the reason being is if you go to legacyfamilytree.com, you can download that free standard edition. And that is a great place to start because it gives you your working database. And then go to familysearch.org, click on search and records. Now there's all kinds of other information there. Oh, I see. Okay. I just saw this now. That there was a request. I think I'll just accept all. Still very much learning the system. Cecilia, did you request to come up and I didn't see it before? I'll invite you for both and you can do it. Do you want to hope? If you're there and you're listening and you want to come up, you're more than welcome. You know that. I think I missed seeing the request earlier. Oh, there we go. Live TV. Move the channel. I got to plug in is what's happening here. So just bear with me for a minute. There. Get that plug back in. So yeah, legacyfamilytree.com and familysearch.org, and the other free site is findagrave.com. And start with the family tree. So you enter in the information that you have. Go to the family search, click on search, click on records, and start searching with the information that you have. That may lead you to census records, military, birth records, death records, Find a Grave. Find a Grave, on their website, it says over 226 million memorials created for the community since 1995. And that is incredible. The other place, and as simple and as silly as it sounds, the other great place that's free to find information is on Google. And one of the best things you can do if it's somebody who you can't find in the public records because it's too recent, do the obituary, but just OBIT is all you need. The person's name. If you know any other information, put it in. If there is an obituary, as I read for Ron, that information in those obituaries is so crucial to our research and helps future generations get back to earlier generations. And sometimes that's the only thing there is to start with. And quite often it will say who their parents are, and that allows you to get back to that generation. That gets you into the public records. And so J-Mac or Wendy, if you have questions, or Cecilia or Graciela, if you have questions, feel free to come up, and I'd be glad to see if I can find information. If I can, I will. And if not, because it's not all is that I can, just do my best. So with that, I unfortunately don't see Octavia, and I was really hoping that she would come. Maybe she'll make it next week, because at least for those of you who are here, I can tell you a few things, because if you went back and listened to the last episode, or last recording last week, one of the things that you would discover is that she told me that her grandfather, Yvonne Sibley, who she got me to look for, that family come out of the deep south, probably Mississippi. She was right. And I found it so funny because as she was giving me the name, I was hearing it wrong. I was spelling it wrong. And in every census record, every record that I could find, it was all different spellings. And that makes it very difficult. But I was actually able to take some of her family lines back to the 1820s. And so, Octavia, if you listen to this recording later, please get in touch with me, Brian at Bryden Farm, BRIDEN farm.com. That's our homesteading farm here in Bear River, Nova Scotia. And because I'd love to share that information. And if you hear it on the recording, you'll know. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who has shown up, those who have stuck around to listen this long especially. And if I can help you, let me know. Check out our website, growingyourfamilytree.com. Over on Amazon, have 2 self-published books, Growing Your Family Tree, Sorting the Wheat from the Chaff, kind of the subtitle, and the other is From Irish Roots. And so if you're looking for helps and way to learn more about how to do research, that Growing Your Family Tree book is probably as good as most courses that you're going to get. It's not that long. It's only about 30 pages, but it lays out the process, the sources, and gives some good information that I've gathered over the years. I think I wrote that about 5 years ago, so I've been researching at that point for over 25 years and shared as much as I could in that little book. So again, if there's anybody who wants to come out, do the mic, let me know. And if not, I'm going to call it a night. And I thank you, especially, well, J-Mac, thank you. Wendy, thank you. I'm not sure if you're on the Wisdom app, but I can tell you that 3 or 4 people who were in the room tonight are part of the community over on the Wisdom app. And if you haven't discovered that yet, you can find our homesteading farm page on there, where I do these talks and where I do the farm talks. And it's wisdom.app/Bryden Farm. That's BRIDEN farm. The other thing that you can do is go to joinwisdom.app. and join that community. It's free. To have this many people from Wisdom come over here tonight means a lot, and it just gives a great example of how supportive the people on the Wisdom app are. Appreciate you all. I'm going to end this for tonight. Thank you. I usually end our farm videos by saying ciao for now. Have a good night, everyone.